friends, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology and today, lunar self-care. So what you or a loved one, if you're watching for someone else, needs to feel emotionally fed, nourished, and secure, because isn't that what we all want? So today we're talking about Sagittarius Moon and what you can give yourself as a Sagittarius Moon that'll allow you to feel more emotionally supported. So Sagittarius is the archetype of the explorer, the adventurer. They very much want to push the seams of their own reality and continually explore in life. Sagittarius has a deep embedded need for life to feel like a journey, like they are moving towards some illustrious goal or on some sort of quest. They want to feel that their life has meaning and purpose and they are developing and expanding. So understanding that this is your own internal need, it is essential for you to find creative ways to expand. This is not a moon sign that feels great with living and waking up to the same reality. So mundane, just day after day, will suck you dry energetically. So allowing yourself to find ways to keep yourself expanding. Maybe it's making sure at work you have new interesting tasks, or ensuring that in your spare time you are working towards a class or some sort of accreditation, continually enhancing and expanding in your world. If you do not grow Sagittarius Moon, you decline. So finding clever ways for you to grow. Risk is another essential kind of quality of a Sagittarius Moon, is that they want to feel something. That's when you feel alive. Sagittarius Moon is when you take a risk. So take calculated risks in ways where you're not going to, lose all of your life savings at a throw of the dice. Although I've known quite a few Sagittarius Moons who were gamblers. Sagittarius, you are a Jupiter-ruled moon, and Jupiter rules luck. So I will say Sagittarius do have luck on their side, but take calculated risks. So maybe it's being really interested in the stock market and, playing with a little bit of money when you've researched on the company. Or maybe it's, bungee jumping, or kind of like those thrills that make you feel alive and kind of have that thrill side of you activated because you want to feel alive. You want to feel like you're moving towards something. A black and white mundane reality is not what you came here for. You want to feel alive. You want to feel passionate. You want to feel like you're growing in a direction that means something to you. So I have a Sagittarius Moon who describes his life like a movie. He always says, if people are watching my life like a movie, I want to give them something interesting to watch. So finding ways to take risks to make your life feel fun and expand yourself, your mindset appropriately. With that being said, with this nature to want to grow and expand, that's constructive as much as it could potentially be destructive, particularly in regards to your emotional processing. There can be a tendency when things get too heavy or things get too deep, you run away. Whether that's booking a trip to Bali or that's going down to the bar. There is a tendency to run away from emotions that don't feel right or wrong to you. So with Sagittarius and having a Jupiter-ruled moon, having a personal value system is really important to you. So whether that's a personal spirituality, a personal meaning that you feel like you're adding to, or a purpose that you play, on your sports team or in your friend group, staying connected to that. When that gets out of whack, there can be a tendency to just live purely for adrenaline and purely for today without thinking of tomorrow and the consequences. Because with emotions, a lot of times Sagittarius Moon, they just don't strike you as that juicy or that exciting when, there's so many other realms of your life that you're like, yes, this. So when it comes to emotions, you might be a little bit delusional about it, avoiding the issue altogether and running away, just living for today, just avoiding the problem, or even, avoiding intimacy. I've seen with this, it's easier to just have fun and just play in the sector of life that you feel comfortable with, which is growth and expansion. Settling down, creating roots, all of those things might terrify you. Sagittarius Moon, it is a deep embedded need within you to feel free. And that could have been embedded from childhood. I'll name a couple of possible implications Sagittarius Moon has from childhood. So as I mentioned, Sagittarius Moon is associated with belief systems and judgment systems. And there could have been a tendency in adulthood in childhood, where you were in a controlling home, or one or both of your parents was very controlling, which embedded you with this need. I've got to be free. I've got to be free. I've got to be able to run away and be mobile, because maybe in childhood you were restricted of that. Like, you didn't feel like you had freedom. So in adulthood, you crave it so desperately that you might push people away, where it feels like, oh, they want me to commit. They want me to buy a house. That feels scary. That will be going back to my childhood when I didn't feel free to make my own decisions. Realize that intimacy and opening up to people doesn't take away your freedom. It's about finding someone who understands your need for freedom and your need for expansion, and enhances and encourages that curious lust for life that you have within you. It's not about not being with a partner, like you just need to be on your own self and take your own adventure. It's about finding a partner who will go on an adventure with you. But I've seen a lot of Sagittarius where they'll repeat kind of parental roles from their childhood, like dating people who run them, of whichever was a more difficult parent, where they feel controlled, and then they're like, oh, relationships are always just trying to control me. Just rewrite the script so you don't pick controlling partners. Since moon is associated with mom, it represents a maternal figure of mom, not necessarily how they were, but how it was that we experienced our mothering. So Sagittarius moon could have felt like their mom had a lot of expanded emotional outbursts, or just was very irrational about things. As a result, Sagittarius moon, it's like when they filter their own emotions, they feel like there's a right answer and a wrong answer. And if they don't feel like they are valid in feeling something, they'll filter it into wrong and avoid and push away. It's because they might have witnessed in childhood one parent having all these exaggerated emotional displays, and then Sagittarius moon feels like, well, I don't want to do that, and that's, I don't want to dampen the room and dampen my world with that. So they almost got put upon to be the class clown, or the one who brightened everybody else's day, or the one who was just always a good time. It's a very positive moon sign. It's someone who always wants to seek the good in everything. But I would just really question Sagittarius moon, do you feel like you're able to be negative every once in a while, or to honestly voice how you feel? Or is your positivity almost becoming this toxic positivity where you feel like you always have to be the fun one, you've always got to be the funny one, that it's not safe for you to be honest with your emotional displays? It could have been you were the one in your family unit that always was brightening the mood, who was always fun. And in adulthood, you might replicate that, and then shove all that deep stuff, all that not fun stuff, all that negative stuff, so no one ever sees it. So it's really about being mindful with partnering, that you choose people that you feel safe to kind of delve into the deeper parts with, but also grants you space for you to explore, because you are someone who needs to have your own world and be very independent and have freedom and movement, who creates a life that has novelty. And that doesn't need to mean that you need to be like a traveling painter who's like in a different country every week. Maybe it's trying different restaurants, trying different recipes, injecting that novelty and that risk-taking into your daily environment, so it becomes something that's fun and not something that's destructive. Because just as much as you can have a Sagittarius moon who's an academic who finds that expansion through books, you'll have a Sagittarius who's a traveler who finds that expansion through travels. But you'll also find Sagittarians who go down a darker path of seeking that adrenaline rush through drugs and through gambling their life savings and things like that. So finding calculating risks that are good for you. Sagittarius love to have fun, so make sure you have fun. So many Sagittarius moons are really into sports. So, finding those things that inject you with that sense of fun and uplifting, but also being honest with yourself when it's not always going to be fun, and you don't have to be the one who's always positive for every other person. Finding creative ways for you to continually learn and expand, whether it's classes, setting goals for yourself, taking on new skills. Think of your life as a movie, like my friend does, or like a book, and give it a beginning, a middle, and end. You are the protagonist. Give you a personal motive and meaning for you to show up and do what you need to do, and give yourself grace in moments of your story that aren't so, perfect, but also keep in mind the direction of a story, beginning, middle, and end, always moving forward, always expanding, always learning. So I love you, Sagittarius moons. You all are so special to me. Next week is Capricorn moon. Diving into it. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you're watching this right now and you're not me, just know that I love you. Until we meet again, stay cosmic.